Welcome to AI in the computer science classroom. We're, like we said, super glad that everyone's here. Thank you for joining us. Um, the slides that we'll be showing today have a white background, and we'll make sure that we describe any graphics that we show. Let's see. Yeah, so this session is meant to be a discussion. So we're going to try to share some things from our classrooms, but please jump in at any time. I'm hoping that you have the ability to unmute yourselves, but if not, feel free to share things in the chat and we will share them out. We're all kind of learning as we go, so we feel like this is a collaborative experience. We're going to present some things that have been successful in our classroom, but we also want to hear what you've been up to. And as responsible AI fellows, one of our tasks is to develop resources for other teachers. So we'll also be wanting to hear sort of the flip side, some of the challenges and roadblocks that you've experienced using AI in your computer science classroom. But today, our main overarching goal is to talk about how we can pool our collective experiences to develop meaningful AI experiences for computer science students in our classrooms.
All right. So, salutations, everyone. So, my name is Chris. Alongside Kate, we will be presenting to you today, like Kate mentioned. So, we're both responsible AI fellows. And I guess describing myself, I am Indian American man in my very early 40s. And I am a CS computer science teacher in New York City, an English teacher, E&L teacher, a bunch of teachers here in New York City. And something that's really exciting and really connected me to this fellowship and my passion for AI. This is something that I'm actually working uh, my dissertation on, which is in instructional technology, specifically with teacher efficacy and training teachers with AI. So I think this is an amazing time in education right now, and just in terms of AI. So, yes, that's me. Mhm.
Great. Hi, I'm Kate Lockwood. I'm a Caucasian female, maybe my lighter 40s than Chris, wearing a blue sweater today. I teach high school computer science, robotics, and engineering in St. Paul, Minnesota, and I'm one of the chapter leaders of the CSTA Minnesota chapter. I was involved in my school's AI policy, and one of the things that I'm super excited about is to see this AI conversation move past the policy level and get into some of the really exciting possibilities of what it means to have computer science integrated into our classrooms.
Perfect.
I think.
So we're gonna go around. We're gonna do a quick little popcorn right now. So I want you guys in the chat, if you could just tell me your name, your role in your school, and basically one way using AI in the classroom, teaching, if you're an administrator, what you've seen in the classroom, so on and so forth. All right. So we'll do it in three, two, one, go.
Awesome. Oh, great. Yeah. For communication, that's a great use, definitely for AI.
Thank you, Tammy.
Machine learning. Amazing.
Lesson planning and teacher collaboration. Absolutely. It's something I use AI for all the time. Debugging code. I'm going to actually talk about that earlier. I mean, later today, later in our session.
Yeah. I love this.
Machine.
I love that we're seeing like both the sort of in the classroom with the students and also the admin side of teaching here, some of the lesson planning and emailing.
Perfect. Lesson planning lessons, communication planning, teaching AI ethics course. Oh, that's next semester. That is awesome. Definitely something that's necessary. All right. So perfect. So we definitely have a hodgepodge of talent here, and This is incredible. Let's move on. And we have a waterfall right here. So this waterfall activity, Kate, I'm just going to jump in. So this idea of we're actually going to use a Padlet. So a Padlet, of course, is if you don't know. So I just want you guys to just there's a question here. Why should teachers incorporate AI into the computer science classroom? I'm actually going to put the link right in the chat itself.
Okay,
So
there
this Oh, perfect. Thank you, Kate. So
you
when
go.
you get there, just try to answer that question. So it's in a sense a bulletin board full of post-its so everyone can kind of see your work. So let us see.
Oh, did I might have put the wrong one. Hang on just a second.
Oh,
I was trying to get soup. I thought I was on top of it, but I had two Padlets open. Here we go. Yep, I got the right one now. Sorry. Here we go. Second Padlet.
all right, Kate. I got a response here to help our students develop as creators of emerging technology. Definitely. Once again, this idea of being a creator and not a consumer, that's what we should be striving for. So I think that's amazing. I did. All right, we got it.
Awesome.
Yep.
Lots of great answers. Yes, I love the like AI is here and students are already using it. So, so true. Like, um, it's not a conversation of like if because it's here, they are using it. So it's how. How do we want to shape this experience for our students? Right. Yeah, I think you can keep adding to the Padlet. I think we'll kind of move on just to kind of keep things rolling here so we can get through everything we have for you today. You have some great responses here. We're seeing tons of really great reasons, the why, right? And so we just wanted to talk a little bit about that why. Why do we want to incorporate AI into our classrooms? We have AI that we have some evidence that AI is being used more and more by professionals in CS and other industries. And we want our students to have the skills to participate thoughtfully and ethically in their AI powered future. Like we can start to shape what those skills look like in the context of computer science in our classrooms. Um, and we're also kind of seeing this other thread emerge of using AI to support student learning. So there are these different reasons we might be motivated to use AI in our classroom. And whatever the motivation, definitely AI is here to stay. And we want to see what we can do to encourage our students to use it. All right. I think for this one, we're going to do a waterfall just in the chat. We're trying to move it through a little bit more quickly. We love the Padlet, but we'll try a waterfall in the chat. So if you haven't done a waterfall in the chat before, you're going to type your answer, but not hit enter until we tell you to hit enter. And then all of the answers will come at once. We're going to do two of these in a row. So the first one is we've talked about the why. Let's talk about the how. What do we think effective AI use in a computer science classroom looks like? If you are using AI with your students, teaching them about AI, what does it look like? What does it sound like? What are the students doing? We'll give you a couple of seconds to type an answer. And then when we tell you to hit enter, everyone will hit enter at once and all the ideas will show up in the chat. So I'm going to give you about 20 seconds to finish typing. All right. On the count of three, you can go ahead and hit enter. One, two, three, go.
They
Sorry.
beat us to it.
All right, amazing. Analyzing and problem solving, iterating of ideas, using it as a tool, not a completion tool. So true, right? Yes, exactly. Engage, hands on discovery, creating, having fun. Love all of these answers.
All
Um,
right. Perfect. So we have this second waterfall here as well. So we just went in right to another question because once again, like Kate described before, we don't want to just be presenting to you. This should be a discussion, right? We can definitely, if you want to unmute yourself or if you want to speak out loud, or definitely put in the chat. We want this to be collaborative. All right. So, what do we want? So, it's another waterfall that's in the chat. So, what do we want to avoid when incorporating AI into our classrooms? What do we want to avoid? What are the potential downsides or concerns? So, think about it for about 20 seconds, same as last waterfall. And in 20 seconds, we will count down from three. I think some of you guys beat us to it last time, but when I
mhm.
say one, everyone just press enter. All right. So 20 seconds to think about it, contemplate, and type. Go ahead. 10 seconds. All right. I'm going to count down now. Three, two, one, enter. All right.
Yeah, I definitely love some of these answers. There's sort of the adults imposing their own fears on the students. That's um, yeah, such a thing. Or the idea of like authentic learning and making sure that the students are really taking away what we want them to. So true.
Perfect. All right. All right. Kate, so, how are our students actually using AI? So we have 5 bullet points here, and definitely you could throw it in the chat if you find other ways. But definitely in our classes, like exploring new code, we're CS teachers, right? So exploring new code, practicing for quizzes, helping with debugging. So I think debugging was mentioned earlier. Helping remember syntax with the different coding languages. I think that's a really useful way. And being collaborative, like with projects and so on and so forth. So if anyone else has any other ideas, you guys can just put it right in the chat. But how are your students using AI? This is how our students are using it. We'll give it about 5 seconds. If you guys can just engage and put it in the chat. Thank you.
And we'll talk a little bit in detail about some of the ways that we're using AI in our classes too. So this is sort of the overview of what's coming. We're going to dig in a little bit more deeply into how we're doing these. But again, as we go through the in-depth case studies, feel free to um, share out in the chat if you're doing something similar. If you have a great resource that's associated, again, we want to make this as interactive as possible. All right. I think we'll just go ahead and jump into our first example. And again, jump in anytime if you have additional resources you want to share.
So one thing that I really, really love to do is I love web development. So I really started developing websites just for fun, and then I just became really interested in it. That I was allotted a college web development course to teach. So this is a course through Farmingdale. This is the State University of New York university, and I teach a class called BCS 130, which is web development. So in this class, like how do we use AI? So one way that I definitely had students use it this year is this idea of there's a lot of syntax, right? And when we have coding languages, especially if it's a programming language that is not block based, there's syntax. So my 10th grade web development students, right, they get college credit for this course. Um, when they get stuck on like errors, like errors, different type of syntax errors, what do they do? So I let them use AI. it's really, really important that students use AI for their tasks because I mentioned this before in a previous talk. This idea that AI is here to stay. The genie's out of the bottle, and we have to learn how to use this genie for our students, notably in our CS classes. So one way that I do it is have students paste code into an AI toolbox, Gemini, so on and so forth. We have something called Brisk as well that we use in our school, and ask AI what is wrong with it, and show the correct code. Right? Don't change my design. Don't change anything, but tell me what I did wrong. This is where the learning happens, right? So AI identifies the syntax error, missing tags, the elements, incorrect CSS selectors, everything that uh, sometimes you feel as grunt work. But once you kind of understand it, what AI tells you, then you're able to really dig deep into why I did this. What's the error? What can I do next time? Right. So AI compares. So students compare AI's fix to their own thinking, and this kind of strengthens their idea of debugging and reasoning. Right. So that's really, really important in my class. The kids really need to think about what they did wrong and how to correct it. So it's not just about getting the correct code. All right. So this idea of building confidence when they're debugging or troubleshooting is really, really cool and really key in my class.
Yeah.
So just want to go into a quiz practice that I also have for HTML. So I kind of talked about HTML here, CSS, web development. So a use case for quiz practice. So we talk about assessments. You know, we all have assessments in our classes, but in that particular course, my students actually prepare for an assessment on HTML structure by generating their own practice questions. So this goes across the board for any type of CS course that you could do. Instead of me as the educator creating questions or review sheets, the kids are doing it themselves. My scholars are doing it themselves. So, an example, AI prompt they can use: create 5 multiple choice questions on HTML headings, paragraph, list, and images, and include an answer key. Right? So kids are creating their own test prep material. So the benefits: students self differentiate based on readiness, right? Maybe there's certain types of questions that they have trouble with, right? They can have AI generate more questions for them. And this idea of the more questions they do, it reinforces their memory retention on the task itself. And and as an educator, as teachers, we can actually quickly create warm-ups based on what they created, exit tickets and review tests. So this really makes students a big part of their learning. All right. So those are just 2 ways that I use it in my web development course. So I have another example over here as well. So collaborative partner. So this is something that was actually referred to before. During major CS projects such as website design, portfolio pages, and even in my cybersecurity class, right? Um, this idea of ways students use AI safely. They draft wireframes or layout ideas. Once again, we're not having students answer questions for them, um, right? They're actually putting together the framework for them to understand the content, if that kind of makes sense, right? Generating structured pseudocode. And what I do is I collect this information, I have them share it with me, right? And these are the same type of questions I give back to them. Because this idea is that students are actually generating, they're studying, and I'm testing on their learning, right? So they're getting feedback on code readability. So that's great with AI. I can't give 35 students feedback right away, but the AI can, right? And it creates documentation, comments, all to really help them understand what they're doing, what they're not doing correctly, right? So, but what do we need to do? So the teacher has a role, right? We have a role in this, right? We have to be clear what they can use AI for, right? Establish clear AI use policies for these tasks. Um, and of course, just like as an English teacher, the plagiarism is a thing, right? So you have to, in my computer science class, you have to require students to document where they got their information from. So that is something that's going to be in universities. And Farmingdale is actually doing that as one of their actual professors have required students to actually document where they got the information from, if or the resources from, if they're using AI. And also, this kind of assesses students' ability to explain their code independently. One way that we could do that, are they really understanding it? They come up and explain what they did on the smartboard, right? This is what AI gave me. This is what we understand, and they become the teachers in the room. So I think that's really really powerful.
Another way that I use it in my class as well is to support their understanding of new concepts. So, especially if you're using Prim, right? The students predict what they think some code will do, they run the code, and then when we're in that investigate and modify phase, there's that cognitive load of this new syntax that they're learning. And so we can teach them to use AI to answer some of their own questions. So they're not waiting in a queue of students to get their question answered, or they're not feeling stuck. They can use AI with prompts that we maybe give them, just like we might give them sentence starters. We can give them prompt starters where they can look up syntax, or they can explore what do these new words that I'm seeing for the first time mean? So I teach APCSA as one of my classes, and we did this when we were learning scanner for the first time. There are all these parts, this complex syntax to using a scanner for the first time. So scaffolding, here's how we can remind ourselves, or we can investigate which each of these things mean using AI. And then what are the follow-up questions that we'll ask to make sure we really understand that task. We've moved now into a project where we're using Java Swing for the first time. So again, a lot of syntax, a lot of new things for the students, a lot of new like packages that they're using. So empowering them to use AI to answer their own questions is really letting them do even more interesting projects than they might have before, because they're like have that sense of like, oh, but I wish I could do this one more thing. Having now they have the vocabulary and the procedure to go query AI and ask some follow-up prompts. Right. So of course, we're kind of just beginning this work. Having Gen AI in an education context is relatively new in the scheme of things. And so there are a lot of open questions around how we might use AI in our CS courses. And here are some of the things that we are thinking about. We are really focused on using AI to support student learning, not to produce the code for them. But if you're in an IDE that has AI completion turned on, what does that look like? How can you still drill down to what we want the students to know, and like what are the really important concepts that we want them to walk away from introductory programming. How do we modify the way we assess, and how can we modify our classroom activities as well to model ethical AI use in a computer science context.
So we have another waterfall. So this waterfall is actually right back on Padlet. So Kate's gonna actually put it right there,
Mhm.
right in the chat. So what are some concerns or roadblocks around integrating AI to computer science classes? Right? There's always a lot of concerns, right? And some roadblocks. What would you need to make AI a meaningful part of our computer science classroom? And so right in the Padlet, we would love to hear your responses, to read your
Yes.
responses.
And I know we're just about out of time.
Yeah.
So we will take your Padlet responses, and um, hopefully they will help us as responsible AI fellows create some resources that will help alleviate some of these concerns and roadblocks. Again, we really appreciate you all being here today. It was great to share a little bit about what we are doing in our classes, and we would love to hear one thing on your way out. If you want to throw it in the chat, on your way back to the closing session, just one thing that you're looking forward to trying in your class. And we hope we see you at another AI in Action event sometime soon.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, Mark. Yeah. Middle school, the COPA rules are very, very, yeah, definitely limiting what we can do with AI for sure. Thanks, Anthony.
Absolutely, Anthony. Thank you. And definitely, like we are going to be reviewing the Padlet. So definitely, if you have any, um, things that you do, of course, and also your any type of feedback would be amazing.
Great to see you, Dan. Yeah. It'd be great to be able to hear everyone's voice. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we hope to see you all back on the main stage for the closing. It's great to celebrate CS Ed Week with you all. So thanks for coming and chatting about with AI with us tonight.
Thank you so much.
Bye.